Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome to the RC Retro channel. In this episode, we're going to get the Tamiya Super Avante TD4 out finally for some action on the Port Royal Raceway and see if it lives up to its name. Super. Is it super? I don't know. We're going to find out in a moment. So when Tamiya announced that they were releasing a new chassis or a new buggy, the Super Avante TD4, people were very opinionated before they even got their hands on one, and I guess so was I. People's opinions ranged from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other. They hated it, they loved it. Some people were kind of like on the fence about this. Some people despised it just because it had the name Avante and didn't understand why Tamiya would do that. Some people liked the body, other people hated the body. Some people liked the paint scheme, some people hated the paint scheme on here. So very opinionated on all the Facebook groups, the YouTube comments, and on all the online forums. Needless to say, I kind of was impartial. Like I was on the fence, and I see where Tamiya was coming from with this, and I was intrigued. Not so much about the looks, but about the build quality, and just the chassis itself. And because of that, I wanted to get my hands on one. I wanted to see what it was all about, and I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed the build. It's a quality build. A couple of things I really liked about it was that it's all hex hardware on here. The plastics are a much better grade. It's something like new and fresh. I like the inboard laydown shocks that are underneath the body over here. The fact that it came with a ball diff, you can get the optional slipper clutch, and there's a whole bunch of aftermarket hop-up parts that Tamiya put out when they released this. So that's everything that I discussed in my video when I built this. I didn't do a build series. I did a build overview, just sharing what I liked, what I found interesting, and just gave everybody some tips to help them out when it's time for them to build their TD4. For this video though, we're going to get it out on the Port Royal Raceway, which we already did, get some awesome action footage, and then come right back here and I'm going to review how it went out there as far as driving it and how it handled out there and so forth. Now, something you're going to notice in this video is we have a couple new camera angles. We're going to be experimenting out there a little bit. I did a little aerial footage. I also got a camera mounted on the back over here, so that's going to be pretty cool. So, just to kind of mix it up and play around and do things a little differently. Also, you could obviously see that I did not go box art. I was one of those people who, like I just said, aesthetically wasn't really into the TD4 and didn't really particularly care for the box art. So I opted to go with like a TRF scheme, not the actual colors that you see, like maybe back here on my Avante, the pink and the blue. I went with like the Avante colors, the yellow and the blue, and I actually had a gentleman by the name of Larry from Custom RC Graphics paint this up. I came across his work on Instagram. He is awesome, and so right as soon as I finished building my Super Avante, I shipped the body off to him, told him what I wanted, and bam, looks pretty cool. So much so I didn't even put any stickers on here because I just love the paint scheme so much and how it came out. Will I put some stickers on here? Yeah, I'll probably put some stickers on here eventually, but for right now, I'm just enjoying it as is. I also don't have the actual wheels on here that came with it. These are from JC Racing. I believe they're from overseas over in the UK. I'll put the little icon up here and the actual name on the bottom. And something else, out there is that, usually I'm a big fan of running Goosebump, J-Concept Goosebump tires, especially for four-wheel drive vehicles on the front and on the rear. I just ran the stock tires out there and, anything else? No, I think that's about it. So, all right, let's get to the action footage already, all right? So that's some pretty cool action footage, and I love the new camera angles. Very, very cool. Now, before I get into reviewing how it ran out there, I just want to share what hop-ups I have in here, because earlier in the video, I did say that I have a couple hop-ups in here, 3 to be precise. And in case you didn't see my earlier TD4 video that I put out a few months back about the build overview, I just want to let you know. So first off, I have the slipper clutch in here. Number 2, I have the aluminum alloy T-nuts for the front and the rear ball diff, because the plastic T-nut that you put in there stripped. Didn't strip for me. I never even used it, but a lot of people were saying in theirs it stripped. And the third hop-up I have in here is the aluminum alloy servo stays, because with the plastic ones there is a great deal of flex when the servo moves back and forth. However, the aluminum servo stays, that's a tongue twister right there, servo stays, don't eliminate it 100%. It definitely cuts down on the amount of flex a lot better, but does not eliminate it. Now, a few people online shared that the front drive shafts for them popped out. They said that, with it being four-wheel drive and the wheels spinning and the wheels turning at the same time, they popped out for them. I had this out there for 45 minutes to an hour, ran 2 batteries, and my drive shafts did not pop out. I had no issues with them. But preemptively, before I even got this out on the Port Royal Raceway, I did go and I bought 2 sets of the universal drive shafts, the upgrades, to put in the front and the rear. But I wanted to see how it was out on the track first, and like I said, I didn't have any issues. So will I put these in? Yeah, I'll put these in. These are an upgrade, but I didn't have any issues with my stock ones in there. So if that's a concern of yours, I don't know, it ran on the track, it jumped, turned, nothing popped out, no issues. So I don't know. All right, as far as how it handled out there, I want to say, now I had fun with it, don't get me wrong. I have fun with all my RC cars out there on the track, right? That's why I'm an RC enthusiast, because I love RC. As far as how it handled compared to some of my other Tamiyas, I want to say it's kind of like subpar. And maybe it's my fault a little bit, because it's a little underpowered. This thing is built like a tank. It weighs like a tank. Definitely weighs a lot more than my other four-wheel drive RCs. And I have a Sport Tune motor in there, a brushed Tamiya Sport Tune motor in there. And it definitely wasn't peppy out there. It wasn't quick. I have a Sport Tune in my Top Force. That moves out there. I have a Silver Can in my Terra Scorcher, and that's a lot quicker than this as well. So, I guess, Tamiya, put this out with the idea that, it could handle brushless power. You can use LiPo in here. You could also run brushed motors if you want. I'm a brush guy. I'm good with Sport Tune because that's fast enough for me on the track. The track is not built for speed. It's built for precise running, steering, being a good driver out there, driving the lines. And so I went with a Sport Tune, and it was kind of sluggish out there. So will I eventually put a different motor in there? Yeah, when I become a better driver, But for right now, maybe slower is a little bit better for me. I don't know. As far as the steering's not so great in here. It kind of turns wide. And I did play around with the steering. That's something I talked about in my build overview of the TD4 that I put out a couple months ago. It's you got to stay in the center of the track when you're making all of your turns, whether it's to the left or to the right, because it has a wide steering radius, and the steering's not very forgiving. So you have to set yourself up to be right in the center to make the turns, and if you're not, well, then you're going to hit the tubing or turn extremely wide. So you got to be very precise with this. It's so not really thrilled about that, but that's something that I will play around with. I know right after we filmed, Harry and I took it off the track, and we took a spacer out of the front, put another spacer in the rear, made it a little bit harder and stiffer in the rear and a little bit softer in the front. Maybe that would improve the steering. Maybe a little bit it did, but it's still, very wide. And, the endpoints are set on there. The wheels do have full range of motion, so I really don't know what it is, and I'll have to just figure it out, I guess. As far as the suspension on here, nice and plush. Love the way it took off from the jumps. Love the way it landed. Handled all the little dips bumps and jumps on the track very, very nicely. And other than that, it looked really cool out there. Like I said, not a fan aesthetically, but out there when it was running, awesome. Could it probably have handled a little bit better had I had some J Concept Goosebump tires on there? Probably, because that's the tire of choice for the Port Royal Raceway. These are running the stock tires on here. But for the track conditions on that day, these were okay. It was very powdery out there. But would those tires on here have helped this? Yeah, probably. So, I mean, altogether, had some fun with it. It looked great. I do like it very much. Again, great paint job by Larry at Custom RC Graphics. Big shout out to you, Larry. You know, I guess I'll just do a little bit more wrenching on here to get it to where it needs to be. Will you see this in the four-wheel drive class races? It will eventually pop up in one of our four-wheel drive races over the next season. I'm still going to use my Top Force and my Terra Scorcher out there, but I'm going to add this to the stable of four-wheel drive vehicles to run in the races. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and my honest review of the TD4. Great build, great quality, subpar performance out there. Gonna make it better, I promise. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, I'll see you all in my next video. Take care now. Let's go, let's go!